Hi everybody, Future Andy here. Wanted to make a couple of changes or a couple of acknowledgement of mistakes watching this video again. And the first one is that I keep calling Christine Palmer Christina or Amanda for some strange reason. Her name is Christine. So I just wanted to acknowledge that now. And also there's a part where I say that Sinister Strange, the evil-looking Doctor Strange from the trailer, isn't necessarily evil per se, but that's a little bit of a misnomer because he's still willingly killed a lot of people. I mean, he didn't intend to, but he still did as well. And similar to the Strange from the Illuminati universe, he does intentionally kill an entire multiverse just to kill that Thanos. So, there's some other mistakes as well in this video, but those are the big ones I wanted to address. And also there is an excellent rendition of the X-Men animated theme song before Xavier shows up on screen, which is wonderfully done, and I don't know why I didn't talk about that. So anyway, this was Future Andy talking. Enjoy the rest of the video. Take care.
Hi everybody, Andy HG here, and I just watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And I gotta say this. I can't really talk about this movie without, going into spoilery territory, so unfortunately this entire movie is going to be a spoiler. Well, this entire video is going to be a spoiler talk. So, Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness begins with Defender Strange and America Chavez running away from this creature that's trying to go after America. And then they come to a point where Defender Strange gets killed off, which I was expecting a little bit more out of Defender Strange alive. I'll get into that in a bit in this movie, but then I kind of felt a little bit disappointed because, even then, Defender Strange is in the trailers and posters and all that, but he does play a role later on in the movie, but I will get to that. So, yeah, Defender Strange gets killed off, and America Chavez ends up in our the Sacred Timeline, if you're following Loki and all that multiverse shenanigans. So, America Chavez ends up in the Earth 616, which turns out to be the name of said Sacred Timeline. I guess Mysterio was right after all. But it turns out Doctor Strange had a dream, which was that whole opening sequence with Defender Strange, which turns out that dreams are apparently what different multiverse things are going on. Which is an interesting concept, and I don't know if they ever brought that up in the comics or anything, but it was a nice concept that, any dream that we have, it is us from a different reality, basically, which is a really nice concept and shows that, the multiverse does exist, at least in this universe, besides the fact that we had No Way Home and Loki to prove that, and of course, What If. But then Doctor Strange goes to Christina's wedding, and he's a little bit let down because he wanted to be with Christine, even though he's lauded as a hero for giving the Infinity Stone to Thanos in order to indirectly win in Endgame. But then, suddenly, Shumagorath appears. And yeah, I know that through marketing and all that, Shumagorath is referred to as Gargantos, which is a completely different character. And I know that they couldn't use the name Shumagorath because, copyright reasons and but yeah, Shumagorath is chasing America Chavez, and then both Strange and Wong goes in to stop that, and to show that this is a Raimi movie. And oh my goodness, this caught me off a little bit off guard, where Doctor Strange himself basically shish kebabs Shumagorath's eye out. And there's just a Shumagorath just with nothing in his eye socket, just flying down the building really caught me off guard. And I gotta mention, by the way, I watched this entire movie in 3D, which there was a Avatar 2 trailer, and it looked amazing, and I feel like that movie is probably just going to be nothing but good graphics. But I digress. So afterwards, America Chavez introduces herself to both Strange and Wong, and she explains that her power is to go through multiverses and explain that, all those dreams that you had aren't really dreams. They're just different realities going on, which there was a bit of a funny exchange in this. And even though this is basically a horror movie, Sam Raimi, there's a lot of moments of levity in it, which I think it kind of balances it out really well, because this movie goes hard at you with emotions and fright. So Doctor Strange then asks for Wanda's help because she's familiar with because Wanda, has exceptional power in magic and all, and reality and changing reality, Doctor Strange approaches her on possibly getting her help to defend America Chavez from whatever is going after her. And one thing I was not expecting going into this movie, though I kind of did at the same time, turns out those creatures, including Shumagorath, was sent by Wanda, because she was waiting to get America Chavez, because the Darkhold shows her that multiverse is possible, and the way to do it was through America Chavez and getting her power. So there's this scene where, as I was expecting, of Doctor Strange and Wanda in a field, a very beautiful looking field, turned out to be just, one of the illusions that Wanda can come up with. And then she reveals that she was looking for America Chavez, just so she can reach her version of Billy and Tommy. For those who watch WandaVision will know all about that. And then later on, because we know that Wanda is going after America Chavez, Wong and Strange assemble, all the sorcerers they can gather to defend against Wanda. And it's not a pretty sight for all the sorcerers, to put it nicely, because Wanda uses all of her powers, and even Doctor Strange and Wong themselves can't stop her. So America Chavez ends up using her multiverse powers, and Strange ends up saving America, and they go through a portal through different multiverses, which was a really lovely shot. And I gotta say, some of them I didn't get to see what all of them were about, but the one that definitely stuck out to me was one that was like all in paint. Yeah, they're just like literally splashes of paint going through a portal, and they end up in a relatively utopic looking version of Earth, basically, where they think that Doctor Strange is lauded as a hero who took out Thanos, but because he did some really shady things to do so, and the way he went about it, and he figured himself to be a great danger, he was executed by the Illuminati. And by that, I mean the Marvel Illuminati, not, So, he was eliminated by them, and Carl Mordo, in this universe, who seems like he's just a cool guy and excited to see Doctor Strange, turns out to be somebody who's working for them, as a part of them, because Doctor Strange in the comics usually is part of the Illuminati, and he knocks out both Doctor Strange and America Chavez, and there they meet a variant of Christina Palmer, where you're getting to see that there's something off about this universe, because you're expecting it to be this good one that, Doctor Strange is a big hero, but you can see that she's really put off by seeing him here. And then we get to see the Illuminati itself. And with that, we had some of the most awesome bits of this movie, in my opinion, because I'm pretty sure everyone knew that Patrick Stewart was going to be reprising his role as Professor X in this movie. And yes, he does. I can say, so he's not the Fox version of Professor X by any means, but he's actually this universe Professor X, which was kind of cool and also raises a couple questions. But the most biggest surprise, and I didn't really see this coming, just to have, everyone's expectation for Reed Richards to be casted in this movie. And I am hoping, let me tell you this, I am hoping he's going to be Reed Richards in the MCU Fantastic Four going forward. Like, he was only in it for a little bit, and I'll get into that. But he was only in it for a little bit, and I was just really, really happy. And I was like, he really does the role really well. And I hope we do get that full Fantastic Four movie with him in it. And I hope when X-Men gets introduced into the MCU, we can also have Patrick Stewart in some form or fashion. And hopefully Michael Fassbender. But, yeah, so we get to see the Illuminati in this universe, which is Mordo, Professor X, Reed Richards, Captain Carter, and Monica Rambeau, who everybody thought was a superior Iron Man, which, without the high definition quality and focus on her, I can understand why a lot of people thought it was superior Iron Man. So unfortunately, no, we don't get Tom Cruise in this movie. Sorry. But yeah, we get Maria Rambeau as Captain Marvel in this universe. And we also have this character, I forgot what his name is. I'm not really familiar with him, but he has the power. He's kind of like Banshee a bit from the X-Men, but able to say I'm sorry and just able to make somebody explode basically. And they're trying to decide if this version of Doctor Strange, the MCU, Earth 616 version of Doctor Strange, is actually a good guy or not, because all the different variants of Strange apparently turn evil or something like that in some regard. And I will get to that in a little bit too. So during this time, Wanda is using her sleepwalking abilities with the Darkhold to possess a different version of Wanda in order to find America Chavez. And this version is at home with her sons, Tommy and Billy. And there's a bit of levity because you kind of feel like, okay, maybe there's not going to be this moment that she's going to go after them, because she's kind of elated to see her kids in this universe. And then the Darkhold gets destroyed by one of the remaining sorcerers. Or does it? Because they find out that there's an entire shrine that the Darkhold is written in, and Wanda makes Wong take her to it. And there's these 4 guards, kind of like an elite 4, if you will, or 4 horsemen, guarding her and worshiping her word. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought they were gonna kill off Wong in this movie, because there's this scene where he gets knocked off by one of them, and it looks like that's it. And I'm just like, wow, they killed him off like that? But no, he ends up fine. So Wanda goes back into takes over that version of Wanda from the Illuminati universe, and then she infiltrates their base. And I gotta say, I'm really disappointed, because I really like the fact that we got the fan casting for Reed Richards we always wanted, and he gets turned into spaghetti and dies by Wanda. And I gotta say, it's a really effective scene too, because the dude with the banshee like powers, his mouth gets removed and she makes his head implode, which was kind of creepy, but in that really cool Sam Raimi way. And then she fights against the remaining members of the Illuminati, which is both Captain Marvel and Captain Carter. And oh my goodness, after watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, whatever you want to call it, and seeing somebody get brutally killed from the shield, seeing Captain Carter basically get gutted by the shield was really a painful scene to watch. And then, unfortunately, Maria Rambeau gets bested by Wanda as well, even though it was a really awesome fight. And I do like the fact that it wasn't just like a curb stomp like it was with most of the rest of the Illuminati. And then Mordo reveals that he did always kind of have resentment towards Stephen Strange in this universe, despite how cool he wanted him to make him seem in this one. And they have a brief fight where Stephen Strange gets free from his inhibitors, basically. And that was a cool thing, because the Illuminati had this technology that they're able to inhibit Stephen Strange's powers. So they came prepared. And I gotta say that the scene with Xavier going into Wanda's mind, which turns out that was completely accurate from one of the trailers, was a really cool scene. And for me, who loved even though the X-Men film franchise was a little bit hit and miss, it was kind of nice hearing Patrick Stewart saying Wanda Maximoff, because we never, even though we had Pietro, or he was just called Peter in the Fox X-Men franchise, we never got to see Wanda, even though she was alluded to in Days of Future Past. But yeah, it was kind of sad we never actually got to see her, and that was something I was kind of hoping for, that we would get to see the Fox version of Wanda, but that never happens in this movie. Maybe another time, who knows. And yeah, he goes into her mind trying to save the Wanda of that universe, but he ends up getting his neck snapped, and I was like, this is the third time I had to see Patrick Stewart's Xavier die, and I'm not happy with that. Like, I'm glad that it didn't turn out, because I know some of the rumors was that both Toby and Andrew's Spider-Man were probably going to show up in this movie, and and they were probably going to be like part of the Illuminati or part of that building, and it's like, seeing how almost everybody turned out in that building, it was probably for the best that they weren't, in that movie, because they ended on such a good note in the last movie. I didn't want to see that get ruined. So, unfortunately, yeah, Xavier is, X3 when it comes to death in these films now. So, Stephen Strange, America, and Christina Palmer try to find the antithesis to the Darkhold, and unfortunately it gets destroyed by Wanda, who ends up taking America Chavez, and Stephen Strange and Amanda end up, oh my goodness, have I been calling her Christina? I think it's Amanda, right? Anyway, Palmer. So anyway, they end up in this different universe where we meet Sinister Strange, as you might remember from all the trailers. And this was a little bit of something, because in the trailers it was kind of implying that he would be like the main villain, or this corruption version of Stephen Strange. But no, he's actually not really evil per se. This is a Stephen Strange that's been corrupted by the Darkhold, and he ended up convulging merging different universes together, and his is literally falling apart. And he wants to have a Palmer, and he wants Stephen Strange to give up his Palmer for the Darkhold, so he can combat Wanda to save America. Obviously, Strange isn't going for that, so the third eye thing happens from the trailer, and they have a musical battle. I'm not kidding. Strange and Sinister Strange have this musical battle where it starts with Steven getting hit by the Darkhold power and falls into a piano, and then all of a sudden he starts shooting literal music notes at Sinister Strange, and he does the same back. And he ends up besting him by giving him the last note, and it's kind of really funny to talk about without context, but it's a really awesome sequence, especially for me, who's a really big music person. And yeah, I just love that bit. So that version of Stephen Strange gets killed off, and he starts using the Darkhold to confront Wanda, and he does the exact same power of daydreaming. Daywalking? Is it dreamwalking? Yeah, dreamwalking, which is what Wanda used to possess the other Wanda from the Illuminati universe. Oh, by the way, that version of Wanda ends up going back to her sons. No Vision, though, and no Pietro. I'm guessing Pietro just doesn't exist anymore going forward. Anyway, so he ends up, because he needs a multiverse counterpart to do the dreamwalking thing. Strange possesses the dead body of Defender Strange, who was buried earlier in the movie on top of a roof, and he fights against the spirits of the damned, which try to punish him for using these powers. But it ends up helping him in subduing Wanda for a little bit. And it's a really cool and a really freaky sequence going on with that. I mean, again, Sam Raimi movie. And with that, Wong helps out for a little bit, because it turns out he didn't die, thankfully. And then, as both of them try to subdue Wanda, eventually she gets free of both of them, even with the Darkhold power, because Wanda knows more about the Darkhold and its abilities. So America Chavez, through a lot of encouragement, ends up using her multiverse powers to try to kill Wanda, and then eventually she brings her to the Tommy and Billy of the Wanda she tried to possess, and she attacks that Wanda, only to just really scare Tommy and Billy. And it made her realize that, even though she wanted to just possess a Wanda and, just take that Wanda's place and just be their moms forever, it's not going to work, because even though that's a variant of her, she's not their mom. And it's a really, really powerful scene, because it just shows because you just see how terrified Tommy and Billy are. And and some people want to talk about how child actors can be. They're really selling it that they're terrified of Wanda. And I was just really, and I got a little bit emotional, for me. And, and funny enough, Mother's Day is tomorrow, at the time I'm recording this, and oh my goodness, just these kids wanting their mom just always hits me differently after my mom's passing. And but yeah, she realizes that she can't replace this Wanda, and despite this, Wanda does show her remorse. She shows her compassion, which causes her to destroy the Darkhold Temple. And I don't think Wanda's completely dead. I think that's too big of a risky move to kill her off. even though the scene plays out like she did die, and Strange himself kind of implies that, oh, maybe she did die. But yeah, Palmer and or Stephen Strange have this wonderful conversation, which continues with a big theme of this movie of, are you happy? Are you happy in facing what you're afraid of? Just I guess in that sense of kind of like, you kind of just kind of have to keep going despite, things not going the way you wanted to or the way you planned sometimes. And it ends on a really, really powerful note as well. So Strange finally fixes his watch that was cracked in the last movie. And then at the end, for one final jump scare, because he used the power of the Darkhold, he gets his third eye. And with that, what a surprise character I wasn't expecting, and I forgot the character's name. I know she's a ally of Strange in comics, but she's played by Charlize Theron. And I'm glad that Charlize Theron is in the MCU, which, she's one of my favorite actresses out there, and I can't wait to see, where they're going to go with this, because they're going to go fix the multiverse hopping and convergences that happened throughout this movie. And America Chavez is a part of the Sorcerers now, which is kind of cool. And then there's a post-credit scene, and I think one of the biggest complaints I had about the movie, and speaking of it being a Sam Raimi movie, we do get Bruce Campbell in this film, and I think he was kind of wasted, to be honest, because I was, and other people were expecting him to be like a variant of Doctor Strange, or, for those who watched the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, they were going to pay off that whole thing that apparently he was going to be Mysterio in that universe. But that never happened. So there's this scene where he's in the Illuminati universe, and he's a pizza ball salesman who Doctor Strange makes literally hit himself for like 3 weeks. And at the end of the trailer, at the end of the credits, you see he finally stops and breaks the fourth wall, saying, "It's over," which I thought was kind of cute and funny, but I kind of hope Bruce Campbell had more of a role in this than he did, especially for a Sam Raimi project. But anyway, in conclusion, I think Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was a really awesome, superhero horror movie, and I think New Mutants really could have learned a few tricks from this. Like, it really caught me off guard when I didn't expect it, and it gave me some really emotional moments when I didn't expect it either, and it had some really good comedic moments as well. However, though, I think coming off this movie after Spider-Man No Way Home and Shang-Chi, I don't think it's as good, though. I think some of my disappointments that I mentioned, that, I was kind of hoping Wanda wasn't going to be the bad guy or the villain of this movie, but I also kind of like the way they did it, because she's more of a tragic villain than anything. And at least just for this movie, she's a villain. Who knows? Maybe in the next one, she'll redeem herself in some form or another. But I will have to say, it was some of my the Reed Richards Fantastic Four fan casting was definitely a really nice touch, and I do hope that it's not just that universe of the MCU that it happens. I hope it is for the final Fantastic Four movie when it finally comes out. We finally got a mutant in the MCU films. I mean, he wasn't part of the Earth 616 universe, but we finally got Xavier. We finally got a mutant, and no, I'm not counting Wanda and Pietro unless they retcon that somehow. Say like they were really mutants, and the parents that they had in WandaVision were like their adopted parents or something. But I gotta say, it was a really nice film, and it was definitely a lot more exciting compared to its predecessor of Doctor Strange movies. I guess so far, I was kind of hoping it was going to be my favorite movie this year. But despite the things that I've said, the things that I definitely liked about this movie, I feel like there were some things wasted in this movie because, just to finally have John as Reed Richards and only to kill him off about like a few minutes later, having Patrick Stewart reprise the role as Xavier, even though he's a different one, only to get killed off like, a few minutes later. A live-action Captain Carter killed off a few minutes later. And, I kind of like Maria Rambeau as a variant of Captain Marvel. That was kind of cool. But she gets killed off a few minutes later. They have Shuma Gorath in the movie, but get killed off a few minutes later. So, and as I said, I feel like they just wasted Bruce Campbell in this movie. Like, I feel like he could have did a lot more, or, maybe have that weird Evil Dead crossover. Now I'm just thinking out loud. But overall, I think there's a lot of things to like about this movie, and it does give me some really nice expectations going forward with Doctor Strange and, all the multiverse shenanigans, which I think Secret Wars is probably going to be really, really exciting. But overall, it's a really good movie. And I would say it's a great movie, but not quite amazing. Like, as I said, after the last, couple movies we got from the MCU, which the last ones I got to watch were Shang-Chi and Spider-Man No Way Home, it kind of ranks third after those two movies, I think. So I give it a solid B+, or probably an A-. Like, it's an amazing movie, and as I said, if you can watch it in 3D, definitely watch it in 3D. The visuals are just amazing in it. So this has been Andy HG, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.